In 2 days, Spain and Argentina meet in a World Cup final. But this is not only Messi against Yamal. The older photographs show a deeper story. Spain building a national style, Argentina exporting football across the Atlantic, and a rivalry shaped long before the modern cameras arrived. This Antwerp, 1920. This Spanish team looks almost informal now. Heavy shirts, hard boots, and no television lights. But this tournament gave Spain one of its first international football identities. Before World Cup finals and global brands, national football was still learning how to look like a nation. Bordeaux, 1922. Spain lines up before a friendly against France. The photo feels quiet, but these matches mattered. They taught teams how to travel, how to organize, and how to measure themselves outside their own leagues. International football was being built by repeated trips like this. Madrid, 1927. Spain poses before facing Portugal, surrounded by a crowd that already understands the meaning of a border match. The early game was not polished, but it was emotional. A national shirt was becoming something heavier than a club badge. This 1920 Spanish squad is remembered because it helped create the nickname La Furia Roja. The phrase came from a style people thought was fierce, direct, and stubborn. A century later, Spain is known for control and technique, but the older myth was built around force. Italy, 1934. Ricardo Zamora, Spain's legendary goalkeeper, shakes hands with Gianpiero Combi before a World Cup match. This is not a normal pre-game image. It shows two keepers treated like public figures at a time when goalkeepers could define a country's football reputation. Argentina, 1920s. This official archive image shows football leaving the private field and entering public life. Men in suits stand beside players because football was already becoming politics, identity, and social status. Argentina did not simply play the game, it absorbed it into the street. Barcelona, 1928. Argentina's players stand in front of a packed ground during a European tour. This matters today because Spain and Argentina were connected by football long before the modern superstar era. The Atlantic was not a wall, it was a route for players, clubs, and ideas. Amsterdam, 1928. Argentina's Olympic team appears formal and calm, but it reached the final and announced South American football to Europe. The shirts are plain, the pose is stiff, yet the message was sharp. Argentina could compete with anyone. Another 1928 Argentine team photograph shows the same generation in a different arrangement. The repeated team portraits are useful because they show how early football presented itself. Collective, disciplined, almost military. Individual celebrity existed, but the image still belonged to the team. Montevideo, 1930. Argentina poses during the first World Cup. This image is a reminder that Argentina's relationship with the final is almost as old as the tournament itself. The country did not arrive late to football history. It was present from the beginning. France, 1930, before facing Argentina. This photo helps show the scale of the first World Cup. Small squads, formal portraits, and long ocean travel. Argentina's opponents were not entering a global media event. They were entering an experiment that became the world's biggest match. World Cup final, 1930. Uruguay scores against Argentina. The photograph is rough, but the action is clear enough. A goalkeeper beaten, a ball crossing the line, a final turning. For Argentina, World Cup finals began with pain before they became glory. Buenos Aires, 1916. Argentina appears at the first South American Championship, the tournament that became the Copa America. This is the deeper root of Argentina's football culture: rivalry, crowds, national pride, and continental pressure, decades before modern World Cup marketing. Buenos Aires, 1960s. Antonio Ratin stands at the Monumental. The image belongs to a later generation, but it shows the same pressure system. Argentina's shirt, Argentina's stadium, Argentina's expectation. By then, football was no longer only sport, it was national theater. Monumental, 1964. Barcelona faces Botafogo in Buenos Aires. The image is not Spain against Argentina directly, but it captures the bridge between Spanish football and South American brilliance. These matches fed the same exchange that later made Barcelona central to both Messi and Yamal. Lev Yashin against Argentina. The goalkeeper is almost horizontal, reaching for a ball that looks already beyond him. This is the kind of frame that survives because it needs no explanation at first glance. It shows why Argentina's attack carried fear long before Messi. Diego Maradona, photographed years after his playing peak, still carries the weight of Argentina's football memory. For any Argentine final, his shadow is present. Messi inherited the comparison, then escaped it by winning. But the old emotional pressure never disappeared. Lamine Yamal represents the modern Spain in this final. Young, technical, and fearless. The image is modern, but it closes the loop. Spain began this story in heavy shirts and muddy fields. Now it arrives with a teenager carrying the future into the biggest match on earth.